Oh, hey. So today, if you're a new beekeeper or you're curious about beekeeping, this video is for you. We're going to go through and I'm going to show you what I look for during my hive inspections, and we're going to talk about how to do a hive inspection. So stay tuned. Okay, so one of the biggest things, and I think this kind of goes without saying, when we talk about hive inspections and stuff like that, and how to inspect a hive, what to be looking for, things of that nature, it's actually also a process, so to speak, of understanding where the bees are at depending upon the season. So we are starting to kind of come out of winter here. The bees are actually, they're out flying around right now. And they're going out, they're gathering in pollen and stuff like that. They're gathering a little bit of nectar. I'm currently feeding them right now just because they've been low on stores a little bit. They've kind of already eaten through some of that. So I've got these outside feeders here on them, but I've also got a candy board on the inside. So if you guys watched my last video, we went through and we checked to see if they were actually laying brood, which they are. So they are developing new bees and stuff like that. So it's really kind of an understanding of what time of the season it is, things of that nature. Now, also second is PPE. As you can see, I've got on gloves here. I've got on my suit. I've already went through the boring part and lit my smoker. But anyways, so yeah, let's go ahead and get in here. Let's take a look at them. Let's sort of see what they're doing. I'm going to be pulling out a couple of frames to kind of see what we're kind of looking at, and we can kind of go from there. So also another thing you want to make sure of is, especially whenever it's right around the winter time, that you don't open the hive up during winter. So bees will try to kind of get out of the hive whenever it starts getting up to about 50 degrees or a little bit above that. But they're pretty much just going out on cleansing flights. They're not really going too far from the hive or anything like that to bring a whole lot back in. So really, this is my general rule of thumb, is you could probably open the top and just look inside if it's 50, but then you better shut it back up. Don't pull out frames, don't pull out any of that, because then you can wind up with what they call chill brood. And that's pretty much where the temperature of the brood drops down below and it's no longer good. So you're actually killing bees by doing that. So I wait till it's about 60 degrees on a warm 60 degree day. It's 64 out right now, so they're getting in and out and starting to forage. I'm watching a few of them here. Some of them are bringing in pollen, things of that nature. So, but let's go ahead and open this hive up and see what it looks like on the inside. So first thing you want to do, always have your smoker ready. So we're just going to give them a couple of puffs of smoke there at the front of the entrance. And that just helps kind of deter those guard bees. And then we're going to actually open up the hive here. So, looking pretty good. My inner cover actually came off with it. One thing you want to do is inspect just to make sure that the queen is not on the inner cover. Especially whenever it gets around winter time and stuff like that. She may want to kind of hang out up there where it's a little bit warmer. So they're kind of getting up into this sugar feed here, which is okay. I mean, that's what I gave it to them there for. Same thing here, we're going to inspect on the underside. I don't see the queen there, so they're just kind of eating around right now. Okay. So, and what I always like to do is I always like to count the number of frames of bees. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 4.5, maybe 5 frames of bees here. And any manipulation that you do to the hive, you want to make sure that you're doing it slow, because bees react to fast movement. So I'm just going through and just prying some of these frames here off, and I'm expecting to see some brood on this frame, because this frame right here had eggs on it the last go around. So, you know, the more inspections you do and stuff like that, the better you're going to get at manipulating the hive and things of that nature. But so let's take a look. I'm not seeing anything there. Seeing some honey stores and stuff like that right there. No brood. So one thing you can invest in, and I have, is a frame rest. So it's just this little bitty device. You can hook it onto the end of your hive just like that. And instead of setting these frames here on the dirty ground and getting leaves and pine needles and just debris all over them, you can set it right there. So let's pull out this one. Sometimes you gotta manipulate it into the lot. All right, so we got eggs there, and there's our queen. So pretty much like whenever I open up a hive, the first thing I'm looking for is eggs. I want to know if my queen is in there. So eggs, there's some more larvae right there. We're looking good. Okay. So the first thing I want to look for is I want to look for eggs. I want to know if my queen is in there. So if you identify eggs, then you know that your queen, at least that she was in there 3 days ago. So I'm not really too overly concerned about finding her. I just want to know, do they have eggs? So that's a good frame of brood right there. A good frame of brood right there. She's been busy. Still got some honey stores left, so that's good. And this stuff right here, if you're wondering what this stuff is, this is pollen patty that I've been feeding them. And so it was in a square about like, or a rectangular, like about that big. And I've went through and, they went through and absolutely eaten it up. So good frame of brood there. Looking good. They've got some bird comb right there. She's starting to, she's filled a little bit of larvae right in there, but not too much. So we're going to slide them back down in there. So I'm just curious to know how much is she laid, because timing your stages for your brood is going to be really beneficial to helping you super and a bunch of other stuff later on. So she don't have any eggs down there on that side. Okay. So she's essentially got 2 pretty good size frames of brood. We're still kind of in winter right now, so she's not laying up a whole heck of a lot. just because, like, and that's probably due to a numbers reason, because they have to keep all of that, brood there warm. So, looking pretty good there. I am curious to know if she is laying in that bottom super. So we're going to go through and open it up, or excuse me, the bottom deep. So we're going to go through and open it up, and I want to see if that's what she's doing. So yeah, she hasn't laid anything on that frame, so that's good. They're just using that for stores. All right. So, a couple things you want to watch out for. So, and the first thing, like I said, is making sure that you have eggs. Making sure that you know, number 2 is have a queen. And number 3 is taking a look at their stores, seeing if you need to feed them. You know, right now, this entire box right up here is still littered with honey. So I'm not too overly concerned about feeding them right now. I am still going to keep some feed on them, especially the 1-to-1 nectar, or excuse me, the 1-to-1 sugar water, which stimulates the queen to make brood. So that's kind of what I'm wanting her to do right now. I want them to build this hive up. So we're going to go through here. I'm going to pull out this frame or two down here. And I just want to see. No, so nothing there. Doubt there would really be much of anything there. We'll squeeze on over here to the next frame. Some pollen right in there, looking good. A little bit of store left. So you actually, oh man, they stopped. I was gonna say they were actually swapping. Looked like they were swapping back and forth some nectar. So, all right, so she's coming back down into here and laying. So you can see right there, she's got a brood pattern. And the way that you can differentiate brood is between like honey. So all of the brood right here, it has a little bit of a raise to it. And each cell is capped off really individually. It's very neat. Over here, it's really kind of sloppy. And it's a lot darker. So this right here is the honey and stuff like that they've been storing up. They got a little bit of bee bread down in there. They're looking really good. Nice brood pattern right there. I would say come the 1st of March, I'll be ready to super this colony and give them some foundation frames. Let them kind of be working on that. Another good frame of brood. Good brood on that side. Okay. Just want to see on this last frame here. And a little bit of brood right there. Not much. They've been eating on that pollen and stuff like that there, so they're cleaning that out. All right. These girls are looking good. So that's pretty much it. That's a very down and dirty sort of inspection. You know, the way that I look at inspections is, like I said, number one, do I have eggs? And if I do have eggs, and that likely means I have a queen. You know, I always keep an eye out for the queen, but if I don't see her, I'm not making a big deal about it. I'm not going back through and looking, you know, on like looking at frames that I've already looked at. You know, as long as I've got eggs and brood in there, I'm okay. That's sort of the way that I look at it. You know, is it important when you're first starting out to be able to find your queen? Absolutely. You need to be able to recognize her if she's crawling around on the frame. But really, like if you don't see her on your first couple of inspections or anything like that, don't panic. Just make sure that you've got eggs. You know, the next thing is obviously making sure that, you know, you're counting how many frames of brood that you actually have, because that's going to kind of set you in that pattern of, okay, I've got 5 frames of brood and I've got, you know, 7 out of 10 frames of bees. Their population is going to drastically increase in the coming month or in the coming weeks, so you need to consider supering. You know, a lot of people use the 8 out of 10 rule, like 8 out of 10 frames are covered with bees, and then you super it. I use like the 5 out of 10, you know, 6 out of 10 rule. I really kind of base it upon how much brood I've actually got. You know, right now, they don't have like a full frame of brood yet. It's really kind of in spots, you know, roughly about as big as my hand or a little bit bigger. So, you know, I'm not going to be considering really supering a whole lot. It's not like I'm in a panic to get a super on there today. So pretty much what I did was I sealed them back up. I'm going to keep an eye on them here in the next like week or two, see if she lays up any more, because whenever I did my inspection about 2 weeks ago, she had only laid like maybe 3 or 4 frames of brood up there in that top super. So she's actually now moved back down to the bottom of the hive, and now she's starting to lay brood down there, which is a plus. So that's what I want her to do. You know, I was feeding them and stuff like that. I'm not feeding them very heavy, nothing along those lines. I'm just letting them kind of ride on and just sort of see where they kind of go. You know, the other thing that you want to keep an eye on is things like queen cells, and there's a couple of different types of queen cells or queen cups, or I really should say queen cups. You have emergency cups, which is what they're going to have those. They are just there in case of an emergency. Like if the queen dies or anything like that, you know, or anything to that degree, you know, where the queen is starting to fail, you know, anything like that. The other thing is supersedure cells. That means that they are trying to that something's wrong with the queen and they're trying to overthrow her. Or, you know, swarm cells, which I'll actually post a video or a photo up right here of queen cells that I had a ton fighting them from swarming. I had 2 swarms leave my apiary last year because of beekeeper error, I should say. Yeah, don't put a box of foundation above a queen excluder. You'll find that out real quickly that they don't like that. But anyways, yeah, so always make sure that it's drawn out some. So which I've got this year, so I'm going to let them build up. But anyways, yeah, so, you know, things like queen cups and stuff like that, I go through and squish them. Some beekeepers, you know, don't do that unless they're trying to swarm or something like that, and they recognize that it's swarm cells. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want them really kind of taking that opportunity. You know, unless they're trying to supersede or you know, I recognize that that's kind of the trend that they're heading towards. But yeah, making sure that they're bringing in stores, make sure that they have plenty of stores for one. If they don't, you need to feed them. And that's either 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, just depending upon the season, depending upon what's kind of going on with them. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much a pretty down and dirty kind of inspection. I might do a little bit more of a detailed video on just like certain things, like pests and things of that nature, which I actually have I'm actually going to do a video that's on nothing but pests. So everything from your hive beetles to your varroa mite, wax moth, things of that nature. So, but yeah, so if you guys don't mind, be sure to hit the like button on this video and hit the subscribe button. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.